Hey there, everybody. It's your boy Chapadong here, and JIce15 asked a great question today about using the leverage sheet in NBA. So I wanted to dive in and show you a little bit of how that tool works and how to take advantage of it. Basically, leverage in any shape or form comes off of these cheat sheets and off of the chalkboard here. The I don't know, the topic you always hear, the debate you always hear here inside DFS Army is, should I be overweight or underweight the field? And that's taking leverage. When somebody is owned at 2% and you have them in, 20% of your lineups, well, you're going to have more of him than the field. Therefore, if he plays well, you have positive leverage, right? Same thing if you see somebody owned 60% and you only have 20% of that player, you're going to be underweight the field, and you're taking leverage on the downside of that. That's really all leverage really means. The field is going to be here on somebody, and I'm either going to generate leverage to the good side or generate leverage to the bad side, meaning the performance of the player, good, positive, or bad, negative, higher than his projections or lower than his projections, and kind of root for the guy I'm taking leverage on to either succeed or fail, depending on if I'm going overweight or underweight the situation. So a couple of different ways we can look at that. You can just go straight down the domination station optimizer, or you can dive into these cheat sheets and see 33% on Jalen Brunson last night. Did you want to be overweight that or underweight? This is the question it always comes down to, do you feel that Jalen Brunson has more than a 33% chance at being in the winning lineup? If that answer is yes, then you probably want more than 33% of Jalen Brunson. Do you feel the answer is no? Maybe he hasn't been playing that well lately. Maybe, new team, new offense. I know that's not the case with Brunson himself. I'm speaking in hypotheticals for January. But is he in a situation where he's set up to outperform or underperform his projection, specifically that ownership number? If you think there's less than a 30, maybe it's just too high priced and you can't build a good lineup without him, or with him in it, so you have to build without him, then you're going to be underweight the field. And if everybody else builds, if that lineup combination is the one that works, then that was a good fade on your part, because everybody that took Jalen Brunson kind of overdid it in putting them in their lineups. And the percentage of being underweight or overweight the field, meaning he's at 33%, I want him at 50%. Or he's at 33%, I want him at 10%. That's more of a 20 max or 150 max MME type of situation where you're building lots and lots of lineups and you can control his exposure. I have 100 lineups, I want him in less than 30. Put a 30% cap on him, put a 25% cap on him, put a 20% cap on him, whatever. However, I want him in more, then boost his projection or put a minimum on him or whatever. Get him in more than 33%. Maybe you want him in 75%. We'll put a 70% minimum on him. There's nothing wrong with building your lineups that way and taking a stand on a few players. The beauty of the optimizer is it allows you to fill in the gaps. You may take 3, 5, 10 players on a slate and say, I'm going to take stands on these guys, overweight, underweight, whatever. And then I'm just letting the domination station fill in the rest. That's the beauty. We don't have to hand build anymore. When we were building single entry contests, or we were hand building way back in the day, when caveman painted on walls, we're going to look at that and say, I need him in, I'm only building one lineup. I need to make my decision. Am I going to have him and basically be 100%, or am I going to fade him and have 0%? Then your 3 max contests and your multi-entry stuff started popping in, and it started becoming more of an issue. I'm building a 20 max. It's easier to keep him at 30% or go over or under. There's a whole lot of different things there, but you can do that with all these guys. You want to be over or under 36 on Derek White? You want to be over or under 27 on D'Angelo Russell? Over or under 33 on Austin Reeves? The point I'm making is these ownership projections are here for you to create your own leverage. You may see a core play it 5 stars on both of these guys, 20% on DiVincenzo, bam, all in. 5-star, all in. I'm taking a chance. I'm going to blow the field away. Oh, 60% is way too high. Maybe I fade Miles McBride. I don't know how those things worked out last night. I don't need to know how those things worked out last night. I'm just telling you what you might have done yesterday afternoon as you're walking through these sheets and made your right or wrong. These are the stands that you're making. Some night, it only takes one or two really, really good nights all year long to make all of this worth it. Specifically, let's look at the chalkboard really quick. Then we'll come back. We'll look at the leverage sheet. So the chalkboard does the same thing. Here's the guys, that are fairly high owned, right? And their projections at point guard. You've got your chalky guy in Quickly. Do you want to be overweight or underweight the field? Where do you want to take your leverage? Is it on Quickly? Maybe you want to take your leverage over here on Zion because he's that owned anyway. Maybe you say, well, my God, Zion is going to be in the nuts today. So I might as well just go balls to the wall and, put 50% on him or something like that. Take triple the field. That's leverage. Okay. You may be even lower down here and say it's Giannis at 13%. He's expensive. Nobody can build a lineup around him. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to take my leverage on Giannis and be triple the field at him at 45%. This is just how you use these sheets. Gives you the guys ranked in order of projected. You can see the guys you're going to end up generating the most on with a fade are the high-owned guys. Your Quickly, Sexton, Richards. You may look at Sexton and be like, there's no way that dude's in the line. There's no way he's in the nut lineup tonight. There's no way. Then fade him. Go all the way down to 0%. Really put your balls out there. Go all the way down to 0% on him and hope you're right. That's all we're doing. And 15% here. So it looks like the forwards, small forward, power forward, are not all that highly owned. It looks like your high owned spots are point guard, shooting guard, and center. This is the spots where you're going to maybe get different if you're building a tournament lineup. If I go back to the cheat sheets here really quick, so we've only got, a couple more minutes here. I don't want to make this super, super long. And we go back to yesterday's cheat sheet because today's aren't up yet. And we look at the DK leverage plays. It tells you the coach, that's B-Dub. These are the players he is recommending taking leverage on. AD, Dalton, Tatum, Payne, whatever, right? These are the guys he is telling you he is taking his leverage on. You may come up with some others of your own on the cheat sheets or on the ownership projections like the chalkboard. You can use all those tools to come up with your own. What he is telling you is, I'm going to be overweight the field on Anthony Davis by double. I'm going to be at 50%. That he's telling you that openly. I'm going to be 50%. Here's why. I'm going to be like 10% on Dalton Neck here. 3% is the ownership, very low owned. I'm going to be about triple the field. Here's why. I'm not going crazy. I'm not going to have him in half of my lineups. I'm going to have him in about 10% of my lineups, though, which is going to get me about about 3 times the frequency anybody else is using him, giving me more of a chance if he goes off at having a combo with him in it that's going to do well. Jason Tatum, 48% is awfully high. I'm going to fade his ass. That's basically what B-Dub told you. I'm full fade. I'm going to take the chance that he's not in the nut lineup, and I'm going to try and get around it and build a different lineup. Cameron Payne, same thing, 3%. I'm going 10%, triple the field here. He's not saying even put all these guys in the same lineup. He's just saying that if he's building a lot of different lineups, he's going to be overweight the field on these guys, underweight the field on these guys, and this is why. Okay? If you go to the FanDuel leverage plays, and I don't know if B-Dub did this or not. Usually the coach's name is on there, but it's the same diff. There's Neck and get at 2.5 is going to be 10 to 15. 2% Jackson Hayes, 10 to 15. Naz Reid at 47%. You're going to go up a little bit on Naz Reid and go 60 to 70%, and then go a little overweight the field on Anthony Edwards a little bit. So the FanDuel and the DraftKings things are a little bit different, whichever site you play. These are the guys that you might be overweight the field on. There was no recommended fade necessarily by this coach on FanDuel yesterday. These will vary from day to day. They'll vary based on the cheat sheets. They'll vary based on everything else. But that's basically how you use these sheets. And you use them all in conjunction with the other sheets. But really and truly, learning to take leverage in a sport like NBA will help you learn to take leverage in NFL, in NHL, MLB, golf, NASCAR, whatever sport it is that you tennis, whatever sport it is that you want to play. And that's how you see our other VIPs and our other members essentially winning the big tournaments and posting the big screenshots of big money, as they've taken leverage in a couple of key spots. If you're fading off Jason Tatum and Jason Tatum scores, 70 points, well, that didn't work for you that night. It needs to work. But when it does, you're really, really set up well across the rest of your lineups. That goes for being overweight on a guy as well as being underweight. Your call, your decision. We're just here to tell you what we think, and we put experienced winning players on these cheat sheets to give you very, very good ideas to go from. And if you have questions about a deeper question about why, just go ask. Go ask that coach in the NBA coaching room or the NFL room or Geeks channel or the beginners room or whatever. Ask, and we can generally explain things to you even more detail and get you there so that you're thinking like we are and you have the chances of winning like we have. This is where this site has been for 8 to 10 years, is always teaching you how to generate leverage so you can win with us. Very, very simple concept, and it works. So hopefully we see you on the inside asking a bunch of questions. Hopefully this helped you. If so, give me a shout out, let me know it helped, and I will do more of these. Talk to you later.